I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good evening and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings. A live fire fun and frivolity show. If you would like to get in contact with the show this evening, or you would like to follow the show during off-show hours, here's how you do all that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at bbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. BBQSentralShow.com, and here's what's happening this evening. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, the first quarterly appearance of 2026, and the creator of AmazingRibs.com, Meathead, is joining us. And it's probably no surprise to you, although I'm not going to spill the beans here in the open about what we're going to be talking almost exclusively about tonight. A myth being busted, a spell being dispelled, a wives' tale being unwived, however you want to say it. If you've been a fan of the show, especially over the last 3, almost 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, you know what we're going to be covering, and you know who we have on tonight, and it's all going to culminate in this potentially great segment coming up moments from now, so stay tuned for that. Then, after Meathead, a monthly appearance from our pal, 35 past the first hour, Robert Moss, contributing barbecue editor to Southern Living magazine, the writer of the Q Sheet, Dr. Robert Moss. So looking forward to catching up with Robert. And then we'll move to the second hour where we have nothing but me, glorious me. I'm not going to claim the entire second hour, but I will take up the necessary time to talk about a few things. Number one, culinary terms that I hate. Number two, me lambasting, giving it to the Cavaliers, the Cleveland Cavaliers, specifically sweet catering. And I don't mean sweet like awesome. I mean sweet like in the old days when I was a youngster, all the way back then, we used to call them loges. But now I believe they're called suites. Within the Rocket Arena Stadium, Fieldhouse, whatever the hell they call that. They're suites. Upper level suites, lower level suites. We have one through work. And I'm going to get into the catering that happened. And it has happened over my last many Cavs visits. Don't forget you can follow me socially, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and LinkedIn, all with the handle at BBQ Central Show. We say good evening to those of you watching the show tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to Facebook.com/BBQ Central Show, or you can watch on YouTube, which is YouTube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where we have almost 2,700 subscribers, just shy of saying the cooking guy. We do have a Would You Rather YouTube poll question of the week, a new variety. And the question is this: would you rather blow up 100 balloons or lick 500 envelopes? And right out of the gate, 100% of you are saying that you would rather blow up 100 balloons versus licking 500 envelopes. And we'll see how that goes through the rest of the first 60 minutes of the show. Results of the poll question from last week: would you rather sleep in a dumpster or a porta potty? 70% of you saying you would rather sleep in the dumpster, which I agree with. 30% of you saying you would rather risk sleeping in a porta pot. So we'll start here this evening. And guess who continues to garner more and more of the Centralites' adulation? Indeed, you might have guessed it. It's Mike Lang from Another Pint, Please. It appears from the feedback that you love how he will disagree with me, but in a very professional way. I assume that comes from what is decades of experience talking criminals down from bad situations. I mean, it has to be much easier and less mentally taxing to spin me around on a take than it is to talk a bad guy off of a hostage perch. You also have to love that Mike isn't in love with his voice. You enjoy his ability to be informative, however, concise, to the point, all at the same time. And for the video fans of the show, you agree with me on this one. Mike really, really has an elite setup each and every time he appears on the show. It's not a requirement, to have that kind of a setup, but you can tell this is something that he takes great pride in. He's got the space, he's got the gear, he's got the stanchions, he's Grillographer's Cut on his other Instagram. This is all in his wheelhouse and his purview of expertise. I certainly appreciate it as a host and somebody who produces the show, so we thank Mike for his efforts in that regard as well. What I didn't expect last week was how much you guys enjoyed a third appearance from Amanda McAuliffe. And it's not just hearing about the new cigar that they were releasing. You're indeed enjoying the Cigar Insiders talk and the education that we're bringing during the segment itself, which really makes me feel good. Also continues to embolden my thought that indeed it's not a vocal minority, it is growing to a vocal majority that a lot of barbecuers are also appreciators, at a minimum, appreciators of premium hand-rolled cigars. There do seem to be a lot of crossover, a lot of similarities, and that also continues to be likewise with folks who appreciate high horology and watches, things of this nature. There does seem to be crossover in those particular two industries outside of our live fire industry. So as someone who has turned into a great supporter of this show, that being Amanda McAuliffe, the brand of McAuliffe cigars, you, the Centralites, have in turn became a large supporter of McAuliffe cigars, which I certainly appreciate as well. So always great to have crossover support, always great to have crossover interest. The Sam the Cooking Guy mentioned last week during our interview when we were talking about Malcolm Reed. He wondered if there is Malcolm Reed crossover audience with Sam the Cooking Guy crossover audience. I said, of course there is, Sam. In case you didn't realize it, you're mostly an outdoor cooking show. Always on grills, always on the Evo, using smokers, using San Maria-style grills, using the Weber kettle grill. I mean, Sam the Cooking Guy is more or less a live fire cooking show most of the time. So there is going to be that crossover audience. However, when you get outside of the live fire industry, where does the crossover happen? Well, at least for this show, and because they are two passions of mine, premium cigars happen to capture a large interest audience as well that also appreciate the Barbecue Central show. Also, those who are into watches, and again, the term high horology. Maybe people don't know horology is also the term for watchmaking and watch-keeping, time-keeping, things of this nature. So, premium hand-rolled cigars, high horology, live fire.
Hey, everybody, can I trouble you for a Hoya?
Doesn't get any better than that. All right. Meathead is in the green room, and we're going to get ready to knock down a myth that I thought we knocked down. But indeed, I am wrong. And we will try and rectify this situation post-haste. But before we do that, we'll talk to you quickly about the good folks over at Primo Grills. Because what do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they're fuel efficient, especially when it's cold, but even when it's warm. We love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures for the traditional barbecue meats. We love that you can get rip-roaring hot for the high-temperature grilling of steaks and other thin cuts. But what's missing in the usual everyday ceramic cooker lineup? The real ability to do true two-zone cooking. Two-zone cooking is very important to both professional and backyard cooks alike. It's also very important to our friends over at AmazingRibs.com and Meathead. It's the best way to manage a fire and cook with confidence. However, getting a two-zone fire in a round ceramic cooker is not very realistic. Why? Because it's round. And a Primo in the game-changing oval design, the shape giving you that ability to execute that two-zone setup that you desire, also giving you the other ceramic grill benefits as well. And when you break it down, there's more than 60 different ways to cook on this thing. Come on. Only limited by your culinary imagination. They have all the accessories that you want as well. Pizza oven inserts, rotisserie grill accessories. The list really goes on and on. Here's the bottom line. Best ceramics in the biz, yes. Patented technology, yes. True two-zone cooking capabilities, I just mentioned that. But only sold through dealers. So go to primogrill.com, find the dealer near you, visit in person, touch and feel all the ovals that you can get your hands on, then buy the one that best fits your needs. Again, as I do each and every week, I'm recommending the XL at a minimum. And why not go up to the double XL for 25% more space overall? The term that we use in the barbecue and grilling world when I first got into it, all the way back in the early 2000s, buy the best and only cry once, as told to me by the guy that ran the virtualweberbullet.com website. Who's ready for a Primo? I am. It will be the summer of Primo 2 and the spring. It was moderately the winter of Primo. All right, we're back with Meathead right after this. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show proudly sponsored by Fireboard, the innovators behind Fireboard 2, Fireboard Pro, Fireboard Spark, Fireboard Beacon, and the wireless Fireboard Pulse. Experience total control over all your devices from anywhere in the world with the Fireboard app. Discover more by visiting fireboard.com or call with questions at 816-945-2232. And because I do what he tells me, we're bringing to you, ladies and gentlemen, Louis Prima, closer to the bone, and we welcome in Meathead, everybody. WNBC coming at you. Hey, Meathead.
Hey, hello, Greg. Hello, Centralites. Good to be back.
All right, now let me try to do this real quick as we fade it out. So, if you aren't familiar with what we might be talking about here tonight, or you're not a fan of the show, at least over the last, what might be building into 5 weeks, we will get to all of that here in a second. But first, Meathead, quickly, would you rather lick 100 envelopes or, I'm sorry, would you rather blow up 100 balloons or lick 500 envelopes?
I don't want to do either. I used to run a magazine, and I licked a lot of envelopes in those days. It was no fun, but blowing up balloons, I something about my ears get in pain just blowing a couple of them up. So I'm out of the game altogether.
All right. Well, I'm a blow balloons kind of guy. So are 100% of YouTube. I said balloons, Mita. So are 100% of YouTube voting public. Mita, over the past few months, something strange has happened. So before we get into it, let me ask you this question up front. Does bone add flavor to the meat?
Not when you're grilling or cooking it in the oven or a dry cooking method, which actually technically includes frying, because oil is not considered a wet material. But if you're doing a stew, if you're doing a braise, then the solvent, water, wine, can extract the marrow, which is loaded with flavor. But when you're cooking dry, no way. Do you have a picture of a cross-section of a bone handy?
I do. 1 second. So Bob in Georgia wrote me earlier today, who must have just been catching up, and it just coincidentally landed on the segment. And he said, Greg, if bones don't carry flavor, explain stock. So this goes into the second part of your answer.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Bring that picture up.
All right. Cross-section of the bone.
We got some graphics tonight.
Right.
Nope, the other one with the cross-section of the bone.
Right. How about this?
There you go. This is I don't know if you can back it off a bit, but this is a cross section of a bone. And the compact bones are designed to bear the weight of the animal or protect the organs. Rib bones protect the organs. That's the vital organ. That's the heart, the stomach, the spleen, all that stuff. And the bones that carry weight are also vital. And so you have this very thick layer of calcium on the outside. And calcium has no flavor. But the interior of the bone, the marrow, which is where blood is manufactured, it contains blood, it contains stem cells, it contains a lot of fat. So if you put the bone in water, water is a solvent. That's why you wash your hands with it. Why you wash your car with it. Or if you put it in a stew like a beef bourguignon with red wine, that's a solvent. It will extract the marrow and add tons of flavor to the stew. But when you're cooking on a grill or in an oven, there's no way that marrow can get out. It cannot get through the compact bone. So it can't flavor the meat in any way. And even if a tiny bit, there's some tiny little pores in the compact bone. Where's it going to go? If it would make very little contact with the meat on the surface of the bone, but it can't penetrate. It can't go deep into the meat. So there's just no way on a grill or in an oven that the bone adds flavor.
Now, fact check me here, because in previous interviews, and I'm going to play some sound drops for you here so you can hear what other people are thinking within our industry. I said, hey, Meathead had contracted out a scientist to prove that bone is not adding flavor to the meat. Am I incorrect on that? Do I have to go back and make some mea culpas?
I work with several scientists. But Professor Greg Blonder is one of my primaries, and he's a food scientist. And I consulted with him on this thing, but it was obvious to me. I've been a cook for many years. I mean, anybody who makes stew knows that the bone adds tons of flavor. You can make beef stock, which I made some tonight, as a matter of fact. But when you can gnaw on a bone where it's got some of the connective tissue and other things that's been cooked. But if you clean that bone off, you can suck on it all day long. Yeah, you go there. Now, this is connective tissue that holds the meat to the bone. Now, that's mostly collagen. And that can dissolve slightly because meat is 75% water. Water is a solvent. That can dissolve slightly. And it's going to slightly flavor the meat that's touching it. But meat is fully saturated. There's no room in it for anything else. It's full of water. That melted collagen is going to stay right there. And in fact, if you've ever cooked a ribeye with the bone in, you know that there's another effect that the bone has, and that's a thermal impact. The bone blocks the energy of the grill or the oven, so that if you play Louis Prima's song, a great song from, I think, the 30s, the closer to the bone, the sweeter the meat. Well, he's talking about his girlfriend. But when you get to the bone, the meat next to the bone is not as thoroughly cooked as the meat on the other side. And thank you. This illustration kind of shows that. Here's a T-bone steak, and you can see where the bone is along the left side. It's blocking the energy. So the meat along the bone can be 5 to 10 degrees cooler than the meat near it, and a lot cooler than the meat far side. So the closer to bone, the sweeter the meat, or the less cooked it is. And if you cook a medium rare steak bone in, you will find that the meat next to the bone may be rare, not medium rare. And the same thing goes for a roast. Think of your Christmas roast. If you've got a 7-bone beef roast and you leave those rib bones on, they're going to block energy from penetrating. So the meat along the bone there is not going to be as well cooked as the meat on the other side. Now, if you take those bones off, you can now get crust where the bones were. We love crust on a roast.
Always.
So, and the meat is more evenly cooked on all sides. So I'm a boneless ribeye guy. I'm a boneless beef roast guy. I cut the bones off the Christmas roast and I cook them separately. That's a slab of ribs. They're fantastic.
A conundrum that I'm finding myself in right this very moment as you're talking about bones being thermal blockers. The Grill Dads did a great video on rib roast, cutting it off the bones, inverting it, putting the spinalis side onto the bones to protect the spinalis from overcooking. Looked absolutely fantastic. However,
wow,
when confronted with bone adding flavor to the meat, Mark Anderson said this. When you say the bone brings a lot of flavor, you mean that it protects it from overcooking? Because we all know from Meathead that the bone is actually giving you no flavor because it is calcium.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I agree with that.
Blatantly shitting all over that statement.
Well, no. This is a myth that has been in the culinary world for many, many, many years. One of the cool things that's going on in this world now, and I'm pleased to be part of it, is that we now have a lot more information about the science of food, what food is made up of, the chemistry of food, the physics of cooking. And we have instruments, like we have thermometers. You mentioned the fireboards. Well, right here on my desk is the one of the fireboard thermometers. Fantastic device. Tells you a lot about, I mean, think about it. We didn't have digital thermometers 10 years ago. When I first started telling people buy thermometers, people who worked for the FDA told me I did more for the thermometer business than they did. In fact, ThermalWorks told me I sold more thermometers for them than their in-house salesmen. And we, by the way, we don't sell them. We just write about them, review them, and such.
Indeed.
So we know more about how food cooks. And the myth that bones add flavor has been around forever, but it's mainly because of the stewing. I mean, in France, where great culinary concepts evolved, they are big on boeuf bourguignon, which is beef chunks cooked in a stew pot, braised with red wine and carrots and so on. And yeah, in that case, the bones add a lot of flavor and they're vital. So you have this two dichotomies. You have wet method of cooking, dry method of cooking. Bones add a ton of flavor in wet method cooking, but they don't add any flavor in dry method cooking. And the gentleman, I didn't catch his name, Anderson, I think,
Mark,
that you just interviewed, is just stuck on that old myth, and he hasn't thought it through. And he should buy my book.
But I thought my Utah embedded correspondent would be a little bit more educated, but he said this, Rusty, bone adds flavor to the meat.
You know, I was a no on this, but I think yes. I'm going to say yes, it does.
And then Rashid Phillips of Phillips Barbecue Co. and TV fame and everything said this. Rashid, 100% yes or 100% no, bone adds flavor to the meat.
100% yes.
These are people I respect to the highest degree. And when confronted with either didn't you read Meathead's book, people explain that science to me. Tell me what, questioning what has already been proven. I'm trying to spread the word. I'm trying to get people to knock off the myth proliferations. But it appears I'm losing, I'm in the midst of a losing battle.
We have work to do. My life's mission.
I'm getting tired and old, Meathead. 30 years ago, I would have been happy to take up this fight. I was talking about barbecue and grilling are two different things. Let's fight about it. I'm losing my passion.
I'm getting old, and if I die, I'll pass the baton to you, and now you can carry on the good fight. No, it's understandable, and I think perhaps this dichotomy, wet cooking, dry cooking, confuses people. And chefs all say, yes, bones add flavor, but they've not really worked out the science and they've not really thought it through. Calcium, that thick calcium layer, just doesn't add anything to the flavor of the meat. It does have a thermal effect, so you will get rarer meat. So if you overcook your steak, it will be better, closer to the bone. but the bone itself adds no flavor, not in dry cooking.
All right. So, and maybe that's where Confucius reigns supreme. People are just merging wet and dry cooking one over the other, much like any using terms that are not interchangeable, but just going ahead and interchanging them anyway because they don't seem to think it matters.
Well, culinary art is confusing and difficult, and the culinary science is confusing and difficult. And the good news is not only are we advancing with new tools and techniques like the advance of digital thermometers. When I first started writing about barbecue, nobody used thermometers. In fact, I was ridiculed for, I don't need a thermometer. I can tell how cold, how the meat is doing. I mean, everybody, yeah, right. Greg, I don't know if anybody can see. Greg is tapping the fingers in his hand. That's how you told. I mean, now everybody uses thermometers, but there are still a few old codgers who don't believe in thermometers. It's okay. The cool thing is that there are a lot of cooks now and chefs now who are wise to the science, who are wise to the technology. And I think that's, one of the reasons why we have all these restaurants where there's all this tweezer food and the fancy food, because they're experimenting. They're having fun with the science, using compounds to take hard cheeses and make them runny and stuff. So, but it's too bad these individuals, I hope they're listening in today. If they want detail on this, they can go to AmazingRibs.com, and in the search box, just type the word bones. And the article that I wrote maybe 10, 15 years ago on this very subject is there. And it's pretty convincing list of facts.
How's this book doing?
That's my new book.
How is it doing?
It's doing okay. It's not doing as well as the first book, Meathead, The Science of Great Barbecue and Grilling. I think a lot of people figure they got the original book. They don't need the sequel. There's a lot of different stuff and new stuff in the sequel. But it's doing okay. My publisher's not complaining. They hadn't called me up and said she needs money back yet. So, but I don't know if there's going to be a third. I'm creeping up on 77 years old, and if I die before I've convinced the world about bones, I guess I've failed.
But I feel like you have the third book already. It's all the leftovers from the other two, right?
That's a story.
That's the easy book.
Yeah, the short version of the story is I've worked with writers who worked for me for years, and my message always has been sit down at the keyboard and just barf it all up. And then you got to go back and edit it into an article or a book or whatever. And when I did that with this last book, I discovered that I had enough content for 2 books. But the publisher said, we can't sell a $60 barbecue book, so you've got to cut it down. And so I cut a lot out, and it's still sitting on my computer, and maybe it'll find its way into print one way or another, or at the very least on AmazingRibs.com. If anybody's really interested in food, science, and also art, plus tons of recipes. And I talked about thermometers. We don't sell any, but we got an electrical engineer who tests digital thermometers. We have a full-time grill tester. So it's a great website. If you've not been there, go check it out.
Susie Bullock just self-published a book. I know that was one of the things you were trying to do at one point, was break the mold of traditional publishing. Maybe there's a conversation that needs to take place there where you could publish that third book yourself.
I researched it seriously because it is now legitimate. It used to call them vanity books when you did it yourself. And I researched it. It's just a lot of work. And the problem isn't getting the book out. It's getting the book distributed, getting it into the bookstores, getting it into Amazon, getting it into Barnes and Noble and stuff. And I looked at it, as you know me too well, Greg. You've got all my stories. Even my wife has forgotten those stories. And I looked into it seriously and decided. And what decided is that HarperCollins came to me and made me an offer I couldn't refuse.
Anything coming up? Travel, guest appearances, anything like that we want to promote before I turn you loose?
Clint Cantwell and Dave Joachim and my team, they're doing more and more of the management of the website. And I'm trying to kick back and relax a little. My wife and I just bought a week-long travel package for the Rose Bowl. We're going to Pasadena on New Year's Eve to watch the parade. We got VIP seats in the parade. We're going to go to the game. We're going to go to the warehouse where they build the floats. So it's not culinary. It's just I'm trying to catch up on, hey, we've talked about business. You're a businessman. You're an entrepreneur. We've talked about this before. When you start a business, it consumes you. It subsumes you. For 40 plus years, I've been working 60-hour weeks, and I've got a really talented team holding me up, and they're doing more and more of the work, and they're doing a great job.
Meathead, that trip is in 9 months. You're not doing anything in between?
Oh no, we're going down. Well, as you also know, I train puppies for Leader Dogs for the Blind. I have a new puppy that I'm working with right now, a guide dog trainee. We're going down to Springfield in a few weeks to visit the Lincoln Museum. I'm just, catching up on lost time and spending more time with my wife.
If you need that article about bones, if you didn't believe me when I was proselytizing Meathead's findings, go to AmazingRibs.com yourself, search bones, read the article, and then write me and then Meathead, or you can copy him in on the email you write to me, and say, I was wrong, you were right, and I'll wait for all of those emails to rush in. In the meantime, go ahead, Meathead.
How about you? Are you doing anything? Are you coming to Chicago again anytime soon?
No, not anytime soon that I can think of, but you never know what could be in the offing. And, but otherwise, I did all my traveling in January for work. I was on a plane every week in January going here or there, the other place. So got a lot of air miles in then, but for the rest of the year, except for the Bahamas trip, first week in January, that'll be the third year in a row. So looking forward to going back to there. But otherwise, nose to the grindstone. Actually,
now I forgot. A few months ago, my wife and I drove around Lake Michigan, and I feasted on freshwater fish almost every night, and just so many different ways that they cook the freshwater fish. I was delighted. I was raised in Florida. I'm a saltwater fish guy. I had marvelous fish at every stop along the way. Even did a fish boil, which I thought was just going to be this boiling fish. And it turned out really nice. And I got the recipe. I haven't published it yet. But Great Lakes fish, a lot of fun.
As we all know, if he wasn't Meathead, he would have been Fishhead.
You do. You know all my stories. You're worse than my wife.
That's right. AmazingRibs.com is the place to go. Meathead, appreciate the time, and we'll see you in a few short months.
It's always great to be with you and the rest of the crowd. Thanks a lot for having me.
You got it. Meathead right there. Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Famer and subsequently Barbecue Hall of Famer. Who cares about that? Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Famer. The inaugural class of 2018 is Meathead. The good news, Robert Moss ready to go as well. He is in the green room waiting. And before we get to him, talk to you about Big Papa Smokers. Competition circuit is getting ready to ignite. Elevate your barbecue game with championship flavor from Big Papa Smokers. Ensure your pantry is stocked with the essentials like the award-winning Sweet Money and brisket and steak rub. Don't let the smoke roll without being prepared. Whether you're aiming for a grand championship trophy or just mastering your backyard skills, Big Papa's delivers award-winning taste in any and all venues. Get your flavor advantage now at the website bigpapasmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA smokers.com. And then use REMPE26 at checkout. For free shipping, that's REMPE26, REMPE26 at checkout. For free shipping, exclusions apply, so be sure to check into that. If you have any questions, shoot them a note. Big Papa Smokers, real barbecue, real results. It is Robert Moss, and he is next.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
And we thank Meathead for joining us last segment. AmazingRibs.com is website, of course. This portion of the show proudly sponsored by Pit Barrel Cooker. It is truly the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, available in 3 sizes and with a variety of accessories. Regardless of your skill level, from beginner to professional, this is a must-have cooker to add to the collection. Go to pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central Show sent you. My next guest is the contributing barbecue editor for Southern Living Magazine and a 2023 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Famer. We do welcome back our pal, Robert Moss. All right, Robert, we have a Would You Rather YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody. Okay. Would you rather blow up 100 balloons or lick 500 envelopes?
I'm with Meathead that this is a no-win situation. I would not like to do either one, but if I had to choose one of them, I'd probably have to go with, even though it's 500, with licking the stamps.
Oh, wow. Okay, licking the stamps.
As long as I had a glass of water or something, to keep the old tongue wet. Blowing up balloons, if I blow up 2 or 3 balloons, I'm just about to keel over and pass out. So I can't imagine doing 100 of them. It would be miserable to do 500 envelopes, but it wouldn't kill me. So,
Well, according to George Costanza's wife, licking 500 envelopes will actually kill you.
Well, I needed to specify, are these cheap imported, knockoff envelopes with lead in them or not? But assuming they're good quality envelopes, I'll go with the envelope.
All right, Robert, what's your take on grill brushes in general?
My general take is I don't have one. I don't use one. I'm sort of surprised at this stage that people are still using them. I mean, this is solely anecdotal, really, but there's so many horror stories about people having the bristles get stuck to the grate, stuck to food, and ingested and causing all kinds of damage. So I'm sort of surprised that their metal bristle grill brushes are still a thing, frankly.
I have a hot take. Do you want to hear a hot take?
Please.
All right. Oh shit. Sorry. Let me try that again. Bristled grill brushes should be banned.
I don't know if that's all that hot of a take, actually. I think it seems sort of sensible to me. If you read my latest news,
that was a hot take. Burning.
If you read my latest newsletter, Weber just recalled something like 3.2 million grill brushes because the bristles, could come loose. So it seems like, I don't know. I don't want to, overstep with like banning everything in sight, but I'm surprised that companies still sell them, frankly, and probably Weber's want to think twice about the grill brushes going forward, having recall that many of them.
To me, it always seems like 2 or 3 years ago, because that's just how my mind works. But I don't know if you recall a guy by the name of Derek Riches from About.com originally. And there was quite a contentious battle, actually, between him and Meathead on who had the more popular barbecue and grilling website back in the day. That was a lot of fun on this show when that was going on. Oh, my goodness. So Derek's claim to fame at one point was trying to get bristled grill brushes banned domestically, at least, if not worldwide, widely unsuccessful, as evidenced by the latest recall here. Is this just a matter of people not caring, not being educated, just buying what's cheap because they think they need to have a grill brush? There are better options around, like two of them that come right to my head would be that grill rescue brush. But to me, the best option currently out there, and it's a little expensive, is called that Grill Fighter grill brush. But it's no bristles at all. It's a chainmail, like the shit the knights used to wear in the medieval times. I don't know if I'm ever going to need to buy a grill brush again in my life. I mean, that thing is as heavy duty as it comes. I've had it for over a year at this point. I just leave it out in the weathered elements. It doesn't rust. It doesn't look like it's going to break. It can take the heat. It's great. And there's no danger here. And meanwhile, it appears that folks aren't even visually scanning the grilling field before putting down their meats, and away they go.
Yeah, I imagine the lingering or the enduring popularity of the grill brush probably has a lot to do with people who aren't really super into grilling. They go to the store, they think, I need this, I need that. Oh, there's a brush, I'll buy that. Need to clean the grill, without really exploring all the different options. And I probably had one at some point in my life, but after reading a few things about what can happen if you swallow a bristle, I stopped using them. And I don't even have anything fancy. I wipe down the grates well with a good. I have just some old cloths I use to start with, and then you can use you can even use a big old ball of aluminum foil. I've got like this sort of pumice stone kind of thing, this volcano rock thing that works great, and you can shine them right up with that. So I basically just get it done without if you don't let it sit overnight and get all hard and baked on, it's a lot easier.
There was a brief moment in time in the accessory world, the grill cleaning accessory world, where I thought wooden scrapers were not only going to have a moment, but they were going to just dominate over the traditional grill brush option. And it never panned out. There were some really good options. They cleaned really well. They lasted quite a long time. Again, a little bit more expensive than a $3 throwaway brush, but I mean, what are you expecting from a quality standpoint for $3 or something under than $3, other than you're probably going to get a grilling tine in your gut?
Yeah, I think that's probably what you expect. But again, I think it's probably being sold at the low end of the market to the people who just don't grill very often, don't think much about it, and just sort of look at it and say, oh, that must be the thing I need. Because if you read it all and you see the stories, you'd be like, I'll try something else. And there's so many other options out there, like you say, from wood to, sort of the synthetic, I don't even call it, like sponge kind of things, to, volcanic rock, to anything else that isn't going to kill you if you accidentally swallow it.
Besides brisket, what's the most overrated thing in barbecue right now?
That's tough. Now, if you ask me for underrated, that's a lot easier question, because I have a long list of things that I love that I think are underrated. I'll do a short one and a long one, because I'm guessing what may have inspired this question. We say right now, this has been overrated for a long time, and that's pulled pork. And specifically, pulled pork that's cooked on an offset smoker.
It's like the most delicious thing ever.
No.
What are we talking about?
It's totally
the guy
overrated.
from South Carolina is saying it's overrated. It's pork. You love it.
Not pork. Pulled pork. And specifically pulled pork cooked on an offset smoker. You put one of those, a big old pork shoulder in an offset smoker. You cook it up to 200 whatever degrees.
Yeah.
And then, forget the bear claws, but you get your gloves and you pull it and all that. Yeah. It's just greasy, big chunks of pork. It's not even really good. The way we do it in the Carolinas, we don't cook on offset smokers, and we don't pull it. You cook your pork shoulders, your hams, whatever it is, on direct heat. So it's up directly over the coals. You got the juice dripping down. It's not bathed in smoke. It's not in an offset smoker because you're burning the coals down and shoving underneath it. It's a totally different type of cooking. The fat renders out. It's not greasy at all when you cook it. And no one, at least up until recently, no one in the Carolinas took a pork shoulder out, let it cool a little bit, and then started ripping it to shreds with their hands. You would cut it with a cleaver and chop it well, or you would slice it with a knife. So to me, pulled pork has long been very, very overrated, particularly compared to a good, properly cooked pork shoulder that's cooked over direct heat and chopped with a cleaver the way Jesus used to do it.
Did you say Jesus?
No, I'm kidding.
We all know Jesus did not eat pork. How dare you?
There's a Texas style barbecue joint I visited not too long ago called Fort Grove that has a big mural that says something like Texas barbecue the way Jesus ate it or something. So I was trying to flip that around.
I feel like the majority of barbecue consuming public wholeheartedly disagrees with your take that pulled pork is overrated.
Well, the barbecue consuming public probably disagrees with a lot of my opinions, so I'm willing to go out there. But I will say, if I'm traveling in Texas, I never get pulled pork on the menu. I mean, that's like the seventh out of like the options. Well, if I get there, at 2:30 in the afternoon and they're all sold out of everything else, maybe I'll go for that. But no. People, I don't know why people like it so much. I think maybe they just haven't had properly cooked chopped pork, but it's night and day different as far as I'm concerned.
All right, maybe there's a Carolina trip in my future so I can do, because I love traditional. Everything that you hate about pulled pork is like my favorite. So
like
now I get my fat to render. I get my fat to render. I don't know. Like nobody's complaining about my my pulled pork, but I'm not gonna. I will reserve judgment until I've had everything, and then can make an informed decision. What's the most underrated thing in barbecue?
There's a lot of things that are underrated in barbecue. I mean, maybe not as much these days. I think turkey is greatly underrated. I love turkey, especially done well. Smoked turkey. I think lamb is very underrated. Even as much as I advocate for lamb, I think you may agree with that. And I just did an article not too long ago going to bat for ham, specifically city ham, cooked on a grill, cooked on a pit. So it's like taking, not country ham, not a pork shoulder, not an uncured raw ham, which is just another cut of pork, like a pork shoulder, but an actual city ham that's cured and everything else. If you go to Kansas City, you can and go to all the great barbecue joints there. Go to Gates, go to Arthur Bryant's, go to LC's, go to Casey Joe's, or Joe's KC. There is still ham on the menu. And it is city ham, smoked on the pit, sliced fairly thin, served with barbecue sauce, and it's absolutely fantastic.
What is city ham? Is that just the term you use down there, city ham? I've never heard of it.
No, because it's a city ham is the opposite of a country ham.
What's a country ham? Like, what's a brand name country ham? What's a brand name city ham?
Smithfield country hams is actually the region, not to be confused with the big Smithfield packing company. But there are lots of them. Newsom country hams. There's Benton's
honey baked ham. Is that a country ham?
No, that's a city ham. So all right. So
oh dear, maybe we need to do a segment on ham.
This may have to be a whole segment because.
By the way, ham sucks. Ham is the worst. Ham is the pulled pork of ham.
So you would agree it's underrated, or
it should not even be rated. It should be banned. It's terrible.
Literally 20 years ago in Kansas City, you walked a barbecue joint, there would not be pulled pork on the menu. There would be ham. And it was just sort of part of the Kansas City canon. As all the regional styles are merging and everybody wants to like bring Texas everywhere, pulled pork is making inroads into Kansas City. This is what I was writing about. And increasingly, the newer restaurants in Kansas City do not have ham on the menu. It's getting sort of squeezed out by pulled pork, which I think is a shame. So I will go to bat for ham. I am happy we don't have time, but it would take a little while. I'm happy to go into the long history of country ham and city ham.
Please.
Because country ham used to just be called ham, which used to just be called bacon. So that's something that takes a while to drill into.
Holy moly. All right. Well, I mean, I guess we know what we have on tap for April, and that's no April Fools. We're going to be talking about ham. I'm only talking about it from a purely educational standpoint because I can't even conjure up a time in my life where I had ham and go, God damn, that is some really great ham. That might be the best ham ever. It is.
Well, that's because if you go get a spiral cut honey baked ham, you throw it in the oven, maybe pour Coca-Cola over it and then serve it for Easter, it's not going to be any good. But if you take that same ham and you put it on a barbecue pit for about however long it takes, 2 hours, get it up to 140 degrees internal temperature. Some people will glaze it. You can follow these recipes online now. There's actually even all these viral videos about pulled ham, which I don't even want to get into. Do not pull your ham. Bring it up to 140 and slice the ham. But it is absolutely delicious. It gets infused with all the hardwood smoke, all the juices sort of unleash. And you may be surprised how much you like ham if you do it the right way.
I've done that. Like, I'm not just a talking head. I actually get out and I cook, and I've done many a ham on the smoker. I've done the double smoke, the single smoke, whatever, offset, direct, you name it. I have not done any. I'm not a big glaze guy myself because I'm not a big sweets guy. So if I can avoid it, I'll avoid it. I'm telling you, it's just been as lackluster as it can possibly get. And I've had the gamut of quality of ham, if there's such a thing. I've had the Snake River Farms Wagyu pork or whatever the fuck they call it. I've had the less down from there. I've had the shit you buy at the grocery store. There's no winning ham for me. And I've tried. I've kept the open mind, but as a local talk radio sports guy says here, I mean, how much poop can one man eat? He's talking about the Cleveland Browns. I'm talking about ham. But how much poop can one man eat until you get tired of it?
Yeah, well, it's a good point. I would say go to Gates's Barbecue in Kansas City, get you a mixed plate.
But that's trash. Gates is trash. You know Gates is trash.
No, it's excellent. So,
Gates is excellent?
Gates is, it's absolutely excellent.
Like 30 years ago.
Well, I haven't been in a while. Maybe it's been 5 or 6 years. But unless this has gone downhill recently, it's
I feel, from what I hear, Gates and Arthur Bryant's, while staples, like without a doubt from a historical standpoint, staples, I don't know if anybody in Kansas City even talks about them as having even average tasting barbecue at this point.
Well, I think your issue is you're getting this the craft barbecue world is sort of spreading everywhere, and if you're judging it based upon the fact, if you're saying like I'm expecting to go in and have a Texas style brisket and sliced brisket and ribs and all that, it's just a different thing altogether. And maybe it's just I appreciate I'm overly influenced by the historical the historical nature of it. But I am a big fan of Kansas City barbecue, and I hope we don't lose ham and we lose all these things, because the last thing we need is just everywhere having pulled pork and brisket and and ribs and just leaving it at that.
You know what's some of the most odd brisket I've ever had in my life? Pappy's Smokehouse in St. Louis. You ever had it?
If I have, I don't recall it. I think I've been there. I remember the ribs. I don't remember the brisket.
Ribs, top notch, known for the ribs, baby back ribs on top of that. And I ordered a half a pound of brisket. Went to the hotel. We were out there for volleyball tournament. I made the journey to Pappy Smokehouse. Got 2 racks of ribs. Ribs were spectacular. Forgot I ordered the brisket because the ribs were so good. I forgot I ordered anything else. And it was getting ready to throw the bag away. Felt weight. And I reached into the bag, and it was like this softball looking wrapped in paper. And then I undid it. It was like a ball of meat. Super thin sliced brisket. No smoke ring. Not that that does anything. But, visually unappealing. I mean, it was... For as good as the ribs were, the brisket is equally shocking in a bad way. I would, so this is going to sound weird. I highly suggest getting it so you can have the experience. And maybe the taste is different for you, but I was shocked.
Well, I would just, I would choose carefully where you order brisket, and don't assume that every barbecue joint in America is going to have the exact same things, and it's all going to be the same. If you come into the Carolinas, and now if you go to a place like Lewis Barbecue or somewhere like that, or John G's, which are specifically Texas style joints that have studied that and pride themselves on that, and of course, like John Lewis is from Texas, then they're going to have good brisket. But if you go into just an old school Carolina place and you see brisket in the menu, they've probably put brisket in the menu because all these people from Ohio come in and say, "Where's the brisket?" And so they try to put it on the menu, and you're setting yourself up for failure. You got to go with what's cooked well in the region, or I can't speak too much for St. Louis, but I never think of St. Louis as brisket country. I think of it as pork ribs and pork steaks and and even snoots and fine
toasted ravioli.
Yeah, toasted ravioli, not necessarily a barbecue joint, but yeah, I would stick to the pork in St. Louis and save the brisket for you down in Texas.
Never have we disagreed so much in a segment, and I loved every second of it. It's Robert Moss, and his website is robertfmoss.com. Sign up for the Q sheet, get all the musings. You'll be happy that you did. Robert, always appreciate the time, and it's ham or nothing in April.
That's right, all ham.
There he is, Robert Moss right there. All ham all the time next month, if you can believe it. There's a segment on ham coming up. All of a sudden, I can't wait for April. 2026 rapidly coming to a close. All right, let's wrap the first hour. Let me get out on time, and we'll be back right after this.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Robert Moss for joining us once again. Robert F. like Frank or Foxtrot. Moss.com is the website. One thing we can agree on, we wouldn't mind seeing a grilling brush ban hit this country. Gang, for the love of everything that's holy, spend money on something that is going to clean your grill, but choose the safe options. Choose the grill fighter brush. Spend the $50. Spend the $60. It's a one-time sunk cost. You'll never have to buy another grill brush again, and you will never have to worry about if there's a bristle that is now lodged in your hamburger, piece of chicken, steak, ribs, you name it. Asparagus spear. Spend the money. Use the grill rescue. Is that what it's called? From the firefighter guys? Another great option. Another more expensive option. One that will keep you out of the emergency room. Think. We're pointing to the second hour. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Greetings from Bellevue, Tennessee. This is Matt Osmond with Blinky's Offset Barbecue. And
happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big Barbecue Show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me! Fine, how you doing?
You have a great
Greetings.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish! What?
He ate 2 feet or wiener.
Oh, listen, Libertius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
Welcome to the second hour. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Meant to do that. You have found the Barbecue Central Show, where we talk about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. Jason Pettis, 4691, 888 ! We need a ham roundtable. Do we? don't know if we need a ham roundtable. How about this? We'll see how the ham segment goes with Robert Moss. And then if I am somehow inspired past that, we will look at doing a ham roundtable. We will resurrect the roundtable segments. Maybe, if I'm inspired by Robert Moss enough in April, we do then a follow-up ham roundtable in May, and then we resurrect barbecue roundtables all together. Chicken, brisket, ribs, and pork shoulder in successive months. That could take us through the end of September. Also, Grill Fest 2026 will be taking place towards the end of September as well. What about getting the barbecue roundtable back on board? Seeing what's new, seeing what everybody else is doing. Diane Me saying what's overrated in barbecue, making burnt ends out of other meat other than brisket. No kidding. Especially hot dog burnt ends. That was bad. To me, the most overrated thing in barbecue always has been, always will be, smoked cream cheese. Come on. Give me a break. Zero effort, zero skill. And the guys from Turbo Trusser made a smoked cream cheese spatula? I can't believe Mr. Wonderful got behind that. But okay, maybe he did. Still to come on this show this evening, I'm going to tell you the culinary words I hate the most. And I'll also have a hot take on the state of sweet catering in Rocket Arena here in Bomb City, USA, and you don't want to miss that. We say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of the video streaming platforms. You can go to facebook.com/@BBQ Central Show, not at just /BBQ Central Show, or you can watch on YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show. That was correct. We have a new YouTube poll question of the week. Would you rather blow up 100 balloons or lick 500 envelopes? And currently 85% of you are saying you would rather blow up 100 balloons. By the way, I'm with you. I would rather blow up 100 balloons. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday, episode 424, taking you back to March 10th, 2008. The live show, nary a month old at that point. And this week, we are going to feature another esteemed figure in the world of barbecue who has appeared on this program, shockingly enough. For those familiar with the Dizzy Pig brand and competition team, the name Chris Capel will be recognized. He is considered one of the pioneers in transitioning spice rub distribution from the confines of specialty stores into a broader commercial market. Chris successfully achieved widespread distribution into numerous mainstream retail locations while also dominating the aforementioned specialty market. Not only that, in his prime competition days, Dizzy Pig, one of the most formidable presence on the competition circuit as well. Not only that, and perhaps not necessarily unique at the time, but when you look at the competition landscape over the last 15 years or so, unique in the fact that Dizzy Pig solely utilized the big green eggs for all of their cooking at competitions. And a significant number of other teams incorporated products from the Dizzy Pig portfolio into their own competition rub blends. So they weren't just using, let's say, straight chicken rub or straight pork rub. I don't remember the kooky names the Dizzy Pig had in their portfolio. But a lot of competition teams used them straight or would mix them, make their own recipe of Dizzy Pig to use on their competition meats. And as an individual who has used a variety of Dizzy Pig rubs over the years, that being me, I can attest with absolute certainty that they remain among the finest available for both competitive events and the home culinary applications as well. So for those unacquainted with Chris Capel, this upcoming Friday segment will serve as a excellent introduction. Don't forget you can subscribe to the show by visiting the website, thebbqcentralshow.com/subscribe. You need to subscribe to this show's podcast feed in order to get the Best Moment Show every Friday. So if you're only a fan of the Friday show, as a special thanks to you, on Wednesdays and Thursdays, you'll get hour number 1, hour number 2, respectively, Wednesdays and Thursdays of this here Barbecue Central show. Don't forget, if you want to hear a guest or segment again that you feel has been lost in the archives, email John, let him know what you'd like to hear. That's John, J-O-N, John, J-O-N, at the BBQ Central Show. .com, and he'll do his best to meet your expectation. All right, we are moving along swimmingly. One more piece of business to do as we get back here. Actually, we'll just do it right now. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
That's right, Bill. We'll do it. Are you ready for a cigar experience that was built on history and passion? Let me tell you about McAuliffe Cigars, a partnership forged between Texas passion and a Cuban cigar-making dynasty whose heritage spans back to the 1930s? Yes. Whether you seek the nuanced elegance of the Magdalia or the complex power of the Leanda, McAuliffe offers a symphony of flavor for every palate. And don't forget about the ever-expanding color series. As we learned last week, there is now a new white Connecticut wrapper broadleaf binder. Do I have some? Not yet. But when I do, I'll let you know. And there's a large handful of you out there that like to get those samples when I get them. Happy to hook you up. At my time frame, of course. You also get an unmatched smoking experience coupled with an unmatched value when it comes to that color series. Each cigar handcrafted in Esteli, Nicaragua by legendary Gomez Sanchez family. McAuliffe delivers tradition and quality in every draw. Taste the tradition. Visit McAuliffeCigars.com to find a retailer nearest you. And McAuliffe is spelled M-I-C-A-L-L-E-F, McAuliffeCigars.com. And we're back right after this. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rampey. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
All right. Welcome you back. This portion of the show brought to you by the Barbecue Central Show. Hey, you have a product or service that you're looking to get out to the most warmest market you can possibly get in front of? Couple openings. Hit me up if you want to learn the extensive bank-busting advertising rates to get your product or service in front of a buying collective that is of like mind and like interest here in the live fire community. Shoot me an email, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com, and I can fill you in on all of the 2 options that I currently have available. As promised, it's me, and we're leading off with words I hate in the culinary world. And for those that are continuing to listen, feel free to either agree or disagree with my words. And if you don't hear, if they are not your words that you hate, feel free in the instant chat to type in the words that you hate, in the culinary world. Let me start with... Oh, crap. How about this? I even got some sound effects here. So how about this?
Number 1.
Leading. Oh wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go backwards.
Number 4.
The number 4 term that I hate in the barbecue and grilling world. Is crema. I hate crema. Why are we saying crema? I don't think it has always been crema, although within the last 5, 6, 10 years, crema, avocado crema, parsley crema, butter crema, mayo crema. We don't have to be fancy with our words. How about cream? Creamy. It's a cream-esque. Crema. A tad pretentious. A tad schmancy. Something simple that we need to wordsmith up to get to white tablecloth. Crema. I don't like it.
Number 3.
A close cousin to crema, I hate aioli. Aioli. How about flavored mayonnaise? I'm going to make a garlic aioli. I'm going to make an avocado aioli. There's an avocado crema, avocado aioli. It's mayo. It's a spread. Aioli a little bit more pretentious than the tad pretentious crema, but not as pretentious as this one.
Number 2.
Chutney. This almost was my number 1 most hated food term currently available in the culinary space. Chutney. I don't even know if I like the word culinary that much now that I'm saying it. Usually when I don't like a word, I say it in a different way. Just to kind of make fun of it right to its face. So it appears I don't like the word culinary very much because I usually say culinary to talk shit to its face. Chutney. Yeah, I know. It's chunky, apple chutney, mango chutney. Chutney, way more pretentious than crema. Certainly more pretentious than aioli. Chutney. I don't like it, but I like it better than this one.
Number 1.
I hate number 1 in the culinary world more than anything else. Compote. Nothing in the culinary world as we sit here March 10th. Can you believe it's March 10th? March 10th, 2026. Nothing is more pretentious, stuffy, see you next Tuesday-y. Nothing remotely comes close. I would much rather say chutney, aioli, or crema every day for the rest of my life, mandated, than ever use the word compote. I can't even say compote correctly. I have to say it differently because I hate it so much. I will not afford that word. It's just due respect. Compote. It's the worst. I was at dinner last night with Detective Corey, his wife Becca, my wife Becky. We were talking about compote and how I hate that word. And I said, hey, you guys make fun of me. Sometimes when we go out, I'll bust out the ascot. And then I love asking people around me, hey, I've busted out the ascot tonight. Do I look douchey? 9 out of 10 people. Yeah, you look like a douche. You look pretentious. And I said to Beck and Corey and Becky, my wife, last night, compote is so pretentious. Like, if I brought you compote, the first thing that you would think from an attire standpoint is that I should be wearing an ascot. Like, you better be wearing an ascot if you're dropping compote on the table, for crying out loud. But nothing is more pretentious in the culinary world than the term compote. Diane Mee doesn't like grass-fed. She doesn't like artisanal. I don't know if I like artisanal either. That could be number 5, artisanal. So in particular order, crema aioli chutney going from least to worst, or least to most hated, and then rounding it all out, compote. But wait, there's more. Let me say this. I can't believe I sent myself a copy of this earlier. What did I do with it? P. Bradford. Oh, damn it. Let me see if it comes up in my Google search. Oh, for crying out loud. Did I put it in the trash? Let me go into the trash. Nope. I sent it to myself, for crying out loud. Links, taxes, pics. Nope. Payrolls. No. Come on. I know I sent it to me. Well, now it's gone. Stand by. I got to find it. All right, good news, I found it. I'm trying to figure out how the hell that even showed up like that. I'm not going to speak for every professional sporting venue that's out there. There's a lot of them. I'm only talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers because that's what I'm going to right now. But I assume it's just as bad for every other event that is taking place in what I guess now is called Rocket Arena. I mean, the name has changed 4 different times. It was Quicken Loans Arena, and there was Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Now it's Rocket Arena. I mean, pick one and stick with it from a branding standpoint. But I am talking directly at whoever is in charge of the food game within the suites of Rocket Arena. The food that you are serving in these suites is tragically bad. Tragic. I would love to sit here and tell you that the food that you are offering in the suites is average at best. I would love to say it's forgettable because I would forget to talk about it here on this show. Instead, I'm giving it 8 minutes of my time to tell you what a bag of shit your food is for these suites. And I say this coming from a place of appreciation that my employer, Ohio Machinery, has a corporate suite within Rocket Arena. We have access to all of the events that take place there. I'm a big Cleveland Cavaliers fan, no surprise to anybody. So when the suite becomes available to the Ohio Peterbilt folks, I've told my assistant, make sure that you always say yes. You grab them. We'll figure out a way to fill it no matter what. Within this season, I have been host 4 different times. I'm in charge of making sure that the suite is set up in advance of anybody showing up. The first 2 times, we outfitted this thing with the chicken wings and the chicken fingers and the potatoes and $2,000 worth of various foods. And those first 2 times, there was so much food left over because it sucked. Nobody was taking containers of anything home. People were leaving the suites to go into the normal areas to get other food. Joke's on them. It's the same shit.
Get that big stuff out of here.
But maybe it's fresher shit? And all for what? To pay through the nose for what is insulting quality food. Food that I am not proud to have my best customers force themselves to eat. And what's worse is the price tag. I sat down with my regional sales manager days in advance of this game on Sunday, which the Cavaliers lost to the Boston Celtics. That was unfortunate, but we rebounded last night with a win against the 76ers at home. Good to see we could win a back-to-back. So we sat down and ordered the least offensive food. I told Bob, I said, hey, take your customers out either in advance of the game or tell them to have a little snack skis before game, then take them out to dinner after the game to a restaurant. I don't know if I want to be having food catered in because I feel bad. And everybody knows I'm no stranger to work expense account. I'm happy to slam it responsibly, but I'm happy to utilize it. I make a lot of money for the company. We like to entertain our customers the right way. And having food in the suite at Rocket Arena is not the right thing to do. So we thought we instituted the best of the worst. Here's what we had. I don't know if you can see it this well. And I can't pop it up anymore. But here we go. Let me read this off to you. And keep in mind, prices, crave-worthy cookies to the tune of, let's say there were 5 cookies of each, of both 5 chocolate chip, 5 oatmeal raisin. Maybe it was 6. Maybe I got a dozen cookies. $67. One order, crave-worthy cookies. One order, freshly popped popcorn. $34. 34. Garlic butter, soft pretzel bites. 2 orders, $94. Herb roasted turkey Dagwood sub, $88, and only 50% of it was eaten. One order of hot dogs, $68. And the hot dogs sat in the main chafer, sweating. Gross. One order of kettle potato chips, literally potato chips, $32. And then 2 orders of what were supposed to be the best thing, except these shared space with the hot dogs, so they got sweaty and mushy and had a heavy scent of Schween on them. Potato wedges to the tune of $90. Subtotal $473 for that bag of shit. Then taxes of $44.65. Then a sweet fee of $85.14, tipping the company approved 15%, $91.21, bringing this abortion of a meal grand totaling $694 even. This is as close to legal robbery as you can get. I know there are stadiums and arenas out there that are serving quality food in their venues. Rocket Arena is not one of them. It is shameful. It is unprofessional. It is highway robbery to the highest degree. And I feel ashamed. I feel disgusted. And I feel irresponsible turning in this expense to work because most of the food was left over. It's that bad. Whoever's in charge of the food at Rocket Arena, you should be fired. Everybody underneath you should be fired. And quite honestly, I don't know if the Cavaliers or Rocket Entertainment or whoever has oversight on this food. Anybody who has their hands on this food should be fired. Fired. It is gross. It is unappetizing. And it is expensive as it gets. I'm not ordering food there anymore. We will do food before or after the game or both of those, but no in-game food anymore. You should be ashamed of how bad this is. And you should all be looking for work somewhere else outside of the food service industry because what you're serving hardly qualifies as food. If the star of the show is $94 worth of garlic, butter, soft pretzel bites, we got a problem. Cleveland Cavaliers, Rocket Arena, call me for help. Something has to change because this little nugget is not going away. Signed, your pal, Greg Rempe. All right, let's go ahead and make tracks out of here all the way back in the first hour. Who was it? It was Meathead, AmazingRibs.com, talking about bone not adding flavor to the team. Adding flavor to the meat. Diane, don't get me wrong. I'm not grateful that we have the pro sports teams that we have. I'm ungrateful for the lack of quality food that is being charged at royalty prices. Crazy. After Meathead, it was Robert Moss. And then it was me for the last half hour. Big show planned for you next week. It is the third week of a month, so you know we got a great quarterly guest coming up. We have a West Wright review coming up. Whole bunch of cool shit. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, how do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. And until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American Greg Rempe saying, Shabbat! Shabbat!
This is Maddie Rempe from Cleveland, Ohio. And you're listening to BBQ Central.